So, let's talk about World of Warcraft Dragonflight. Now, I wanted to make this video because I want to have like an actual take instead of just like the full reaction to the reveal event, which some people didn't actually like. And we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about some of the feedback I've gotten. Because I think that it is important to address this. I don't like to just, you know, I very rarely actually ban people from the channel unless they're being like super disrespectful. But whenever people have concerns, I like to talk about stuff. And I'm not going to be featuring specific comments because we all know that that doesn't usually work out super well. So I prepared a little presentation here, which you guys can see and you can follow along. Hopefully it'll be readable. If it's not fully readable, we might swap into presentation mode here, but we'll see. For now, we'll leave it like this, and then I'll be swapping it around. There's also at one point at which I will have to swap the presentation mode because there's something I want to show you guys. But for now, we'll continue. The PowerPoint Master, yes. So one of the first things that that I saw on the channel come up, and this is an argument that is brought not just by people that commented on it, but I see this comment being brought up, this particular argument being brought up by a lot of people, particularly, I think I've seen even a lot of streamers also bring this stuff up, which is, it's just a game. As if like, you just point this out, it's like, listen, it's just a game, and magically everything disappears. It's like, so at this point, if you bring up an argument like this, the counter argument that I would make is, well, if that's the argument you're making, then we shouldn't really talk or criticize literally any game. Because any video game that you can think about is just a game. It's just a game, dude. Like, you know, you go ahead and you, boom. Raid Shadow Legends is just a game. I don't know if the latest Battlefield is 2942, whatever, 2042. I don't know what number it is. You guys know the Battlefield that I'm talking about. The most recent one. It's just a game. Why are you criticizing it? It's just a game. It's just a game, dude. It's like, why do you care? It's like, you guys know that game that Kira's always talking about? Earth 2? That's like a complete and utter friggin' scam. I mean, let's not compare Earth 2 to World of Warcraft. But it's like, it's also just a game. It's just a game. Like, I really don't like that argument, personally. I just don't think it's a particularly good argument. Like, if we're talking about something, if we're debating something, the argument is, it's just a video game. Play it, don't play it. Well, at that point, it's not worth to talk about anything when it comes to video games, because everything's a video game. Babylon's Fall, that's just a video game. Why would we criticize it? It's just a video game. That's the point. We talk about it because we want to have a conversation, engage in a conversation. And, you know, I have certain opinions about some things. Different people might have different opinions, but the it's just a game argument, I don't think is a particularly interesting argument to have when we're having this conversation, is the point that I'm getting at. But, you know, because, like, again, if you just reduce anything to it's just a game, then you can't really have a conversation about anything. Then the other one is, why can't you take their statements at face value? Because a lot of people were upset over the fact that I would contradict some of the things developers were saying by saying, oh, you're just going to do this instead. And the answer to that is, why do you? Like, this company hasn't really earned our trust for how many years now? This company has consistently fucked up this video game for how many years now? And all of a sudden, it's like, we just have to take what they say at face value? I mean, I don't know. That to me doesn't make a lot of sense, because here's the way that trust works. You have to build up trust, and then I can trust you. So it's like, I'll take certain things that developers say at face value. For instance, whenever the Monster Hunter team comes up with something, I'll take what they say at face value, because so far, they've been pretty good at providing me with quality content. I'll take what the Final Fantasy XIV developers say at face value, because ever since 1.0, they've consistently delivered on a quality experience. 1.0 obviously being a terrible experience. So if, you know, if they were trying to sell me on 2.0, at this point, I would be very skeptical. Like, I would be super skeptical of Realm Reborn back when that was announced. I was super skeptical. I didn't even play it. Realm Reborn when it was announced back like 2013. It took a long time of them like rebuilding that that trust in their player base again. And that's what I feel Blizzard needs to do before I can take what they say at face value. It's just that simple. It's like, what is it that Asmongold usually says? He says something about like each game boycott is like a 3-minute cinematic, a way of being over or something like that. It's like, listen, I don't get wowed by a cinematic. You show me a cinematic trailer, that's not going to blow my socks off. You show me some basic gameplay, that might get me more interested, but the gameplay they've shown didn't really show even that much, and I've seen the same gameplay and even just like the same cinematics throughout that presentation over and over again, because they don't even have that much to show, which even led me to say multiple times, like, this was too early. They were not really ready for this, and they're just doing it like as kind of like a panic mode almost. It's almost like, please guys, don't go away, don't give up on us just yet. It's like, no, just take your time. Even them making that presentation to me showed that they're so scattered in panic mode, which is not a good look. I would have preferred like nothing and then reveal stuff when you have more to talk about. But, you know, that's a personal thing. It's whatever. Ultimately, it's like, why don't I take their statements at face value? Simple. Because they've been duplicitous too many times. They've lied to us multiple times. They've shown that they are out of touch with their player base multiple times. Repeatedly and relentlessly. So no, I can't just blindly trust Blizzard at this point, and I don't understand how anyone that has seen the stuff that has happened over the last year or so, even actually no, over the last 5 years, the way that the game has been developed over the last, I think it's even more than 5 years. I don't even want to count how many years. Just like over the last couple of years, let's just say couple of years. If you've seen the way the game's been developed over the last couple of years, how can anyone take their statements at face value? It takes time to build trust. So it's like, if they knock it out of the park, and make no mistake, I'm not wishing for them to not knock it out of the park with Dragonflight. I hope it's the best expansion it can possibly be. Dude, I would love for it to even be better than like Endwalker and Shadowbringers. I don't think it'll be, but dude, it would be amazing if it was. It'd be amazing if it was. Why? Because more good MMOs is a good thing for the MMO genre as a whole. It's just that simple. I'm not somebody who's sitting here like, oh man, I hope WoW fucking burns to the ground. No, I hope Dragonflight's amazing. But I'm going to believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it, not when they're like, you know, going off of just like blatant hype mode. But, you know, that's just the way that I look at things. So why can't I trust them? Because of that. And also, there's that little thing about Diablo Immortal, Hong Kong, Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands, the working conditions of the World of Warcraft developers, breast milk theft, corruption, and much, much more. I mean, if we were to just like go down the list of all of the bullshit that has been happening over the last couple of years, there's plenty of reasons not to take what Blizzard says at face value. Plenty of fucking reasons. It's just a matter of like, look, I get it. People are hyped. Get hyped, and you know, get hyped if you want to. Don't expect me to jump in like, oh, I'm so hyped, I'm going to believe everything they say, because I've been disappointed too many times. Hell, I joined the hype train again at Shadowlands despite... You need to understand, like, I've been tricked so many friggin' times with this game, and I've joined the hype train for Shadowlands again despite all the bullshit that happened, and then I got into Shadowlands and I was like, this is the same thing. The same bullshit. Actually, it's worse. I think Shadowlands was actually way worse than previous expansions with the amount of systems that they had in place that I needed like 20 hours of chores in order to be able to keep up with, you know, the requirements just to do raiding in Mythic Plus. Like, is there any proof anywhere that Dragonflight is going to be different? I disagree. People have been telling me, oh, but patch 9.105 and patch 9.2, and it's like, you're talking about the diligent farming patches? Is that what we're talking about here? Is that what we're talking about here? You know, So when people ask me why I criticize certain things that they've said and why I'm interpreting it in a different way than what they've said, it's simple. I don't trust them. They need to make a good expansion in order for me to trust them. I'm not going to trust them because they had this pre-packaged presentation that didn't even talk about most of the things that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, that's why. Now then there's also this is something that comes up from time to time. You are just hating on World of Warcraft for the sake of hating on World of Warcraft and or for money. So for starters, let me tell you something about when I don't like a video game. I don't talk about it. So like for instance, you guys remember Lost Ark? Lost Ark came out. I played a little bit, made like 1 or 2 videos about it. What did I do after that? What did I do after those 2 or 3 videos that I've made for Lost Ark? I never touched it again. Never touched it again. Because I don't care. Because I realize this game is not for me. I'm not going to be interested in it. Therefore, I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to talk about it. I don't care. So it's like when I don't like something, usually I might make 1 or 2 videos and then I just don't talk about it anymore. You watched Asmongold videos about it is what you did? No, I mean, if I did, I didn't upload them to the channel. I might have watched like 1 or 2, like I said, and then I just like, whatever. I don't care. I stopped playing, stopped talking about it, don't care. If people are enjoying it, enjoy it, do whatever the hell you want. And that's what I do to games that I don't care about. The thing is, World of Warcraft still, for better or for worse, probably for worse, World of Warcraft still holds a very special place in my heart because I played this game for fucking years. So I'm going to talk about it. And then for the second part of you just do it for the money, we're going to have to go to presentations so that you guys can actually see the numbers here. Here it is. Here's how much money my channel is making. And if you want to know how much I'm making on Twitch, multiply this by 2.5. You multiply this number here by 2.5. That's how much I'm making on Twitch. And then you look at this number. That's how much money I'm making on YouTube with the shit that I post on this channel. I would say this is not a particularly good business venture. If I'm just, you know, trying to monetize my hatred for World of Warcraft. So, yeah. I don't know about that part. Oh crap! If I highlight it, you actually can't see it properly. But yeah, here you go. It's like, so I don't think that this is a particularly good business venture. If this is what I would want to do, but you know, to each their own. Ruri's yacht reveal soon. Yeah, I mean, I live in Portugal, and the cost of living here is cheaper, but it's not cheap enough to buy a yacht for 117 euros. So for the people saying that I'm doing this for the money, like, no, understand. The money comes from my main channel, okay? The main channel, the one where I post about Monster Hunter and Soul stuff, that's where the bulk of my income comes from. It doesn't come from Twitch, and it doesn't come from the secondary channel. This is a passion project, all right? Like, if I just wanted to make money, all I would do is make videos for my main channel. Understand, okay? So, you know, I think that clears that part up. And then comes obviously the question, well, what do you want? What would actually make you happy to see in this expansion? And before we get there, I think we need to talk about, well, what do we get? What do we actually get from this presentation, right? So, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see it, depending on if you're on a phone or not, but I'm going to read it out anyways. It's like, what do we get? We got new zones, new story, new dungeons. And obviously new raid. I don't think I put new raid in here, but eventually we're going to get a new raid as well. So these are like the most standard things that you're going to get with a World of Warcraft expansion. This is expected. So this is not, it's not like this is anything special. This is just bog standard. New zones, new story, new dungeons, and new raid. That's just going to be the stuff that you're going to be getting with every new World of Warcraft expansion. So let's get into some more interesting things. A new race class combo. The dragon people. And also, did I mention that we're getting dragons? I don't think I mentioned we're getting dragons. We're getting dragons, guys. There's dragons. There's dragons. We're gonna fight dragons. We're gonna ride dragons. There's dragons. And there's dragon people. Now, when it comes to the new race class combo, I'm pretty neutral on it because I'm not, it's like, look, whenever I play World of Warcraft, I care about one race and one race alone. Because that's just, you know, that's just the way that I play World of Warcraft. That's the dwarves. I play a dwarf. That's it. So the fact that there's a new class, can a dwarf be an evoker? No, not interested. Don't care. Don't care. Just don't care at all. Like, doesn't even faze me. Never gonna play this class. Never gonna play it. Don't care. Don't care about the race. Don't care about nothing. It's like, whatever. They're gonna have dragons. I'm literally neutral on it. Do not care. The thing that does bother me is that most likely, due to the fact that, you know, Blizzard's class balance is complete ass, evokers, Drektir evokers, whatever the fuck they're called, are going to be overpowered as fuck for like the first month or two. Then they're going to be nerfed into the ground and they're going to suck for the next month or two. And then they're eventually going to be balanced and brought in line with the rest of the classes, because that's always how it works. So the new race class, don't care. Dragon riding system, this is actually really cool. I want you guys to understand, the dragon riding system is really cool. I know that I memed on it a little bit in the video because you guys linked me a guild. No, you guys didn't link me. You guys told me look up the Guild Wars mount thing. And I was like, oh no. That was mostly for the memes. Because like, listen, this is when Blizzard's at their best. Copying shit from other people, that's what Blizzard does. Like you guys know the whole thing about Command and Conquer, fucking Blizzard's take on Command and Conquer, Blizzard's take on EverQuest 2, Blizzard's take on Rogue, Blizzard's take on Team Fortress 2. It's like, that's what they do. They're usually really good at copying shit. So this expansion did not need to blow my mind in terms of like story, in terms of zones, because look, the art team always does a fantastic work. Like, I have no complaints about World of Warcraft art. I think the art's always been amazing. I know that there are people who like to compare the graphics with Final Fantasy XIV, and I want you to understand, when I initially played Final Fantasy XIV, I had a really hard time getting into the art style of 14, because I was used to World of Warcraft, and I love the World of Warcraft's art style. That's not going to change. So, I think that the art style is great. I think that all of that stuff is great, right? But the fact that they're copying Guild Wars 2 flying system, I think that's a good thing, because one of the things that I've always said is I actually think that flying mounts generally make MMOs worse. If I could, I would delete flying mounts from all MMOs. I know that that's a pretty hot take and a lot of people are not going to like it. I would just delete flying mounts entirely. And you guys are like, but Rurikhan, this is like, you know, they're going to have flying from the start, supposedly, according to what Ian said. And it's like, that's a good thing, because this is not just flying, because they talked about exhaustion. So this is not just, you're not just going to be able to fly from A to B. You're going to have to engage in some kind of system, and it's going to be a traversal system. And this is another thing that I've said multiple times about MMOs and literally any other game, is that traversal is key. Traversing, the way in which you traverse through a game is super important. And the fact that this is something that Blizzard is recognizing is a really good thing. This is a really good thing. Like, listen, one of the reasons why Xenoblade Chronicles X is one of my favorite games ever to explore is because they did really cool traversal. Characters would move super fast, inhuman speeds. Your characters would move super fast, and they'd be able to jump super high. So they couldn't fly, but it's almost like they could. So there were still limitations in how you could explore the world, but they would just jump super high. So if they do something like that, in which the dragon riding system allows you to quickly traverse the map whilst not entirely just going, you know, crow's line, A to B, straight, as crow flies, zoop, and then descend, and then back into the air again, and then to the next set. Then to the next. The fact that you're going to have to, like, you know, hopefully, at least one would expect, to actually navigate the zones in different ways. So it's not as boring as just like walking or regular mount, just like riding to a spot. But at the same time, it's not as easy as just like A to B and then land. I think this is a good thing. I think this is a very good thing. I want people to understand that, okay? The fact that you get a custom mount as well, like build my own dragon, I think that's cool too. The weird part is that the old mounts are still there. So it's like, this feels like a system that will eventually be abandoned. So it's like, in terms of the Dragonflight exploration, it's probably going to be amazing. The problem is going to be when they release the next expansion, if they abandon this system, it's going to feel like shit. Because that is what Blizzard does. And in the same presentation that they talked about how we're getting rid of borrowed power, well, they didn't really say we're getting rid of borrowed power. It's almost like they're easing up on borrowed power, right? The fact that in that same presentation, like, oh, we're adding this amazing system, dragon riding, and you can tell it's like, you literally call it dragon riding because it's for Dragonflight, is I would love to see this system be applied to every new expansion moving forward, so that you would have, you know, people would be less incentivized to just like fly from A to B, no interaction whatsoever. Bzz, bzz, bzz. So again, there's a lot of potential for the dragon riding system. It just sucks that it's probably going to be abandoned when they go to the next expansion. So, you know, whatever. Then it's like old school talent trees. Now, a lot of people were just like over the moon with this, and understand, I'm happy too, but what exactly is this? I mean, people call it, oh, it's new talent trees. It's not really new talent trees. It's the old school talent trees we used to have. They've just been modernized for the current version of the game. This is what they would have been if Blizzard hadn't like ham-fisted the Mist of Pandaria talent system into the fucking game that nobody wanted. Well, I lie. Some people actually wanted it, and some of my friends even tried justifying that bullshit to me, and I was like, no, that is ass. That is ass. And for all those of you who were like, no, man, it was actually good. Here's your proof. It was ass. Because they're going back to the old way. But let's not mince words here. This is basically going back to the way things were, which is a good thing, but it also shows you guys have been so fucking out of touch that it took you Mists of Pandaria, Warlords of Draenor, Legion, Battle for Azeroth, and Shadowlands, count them five fucking expansions to realize that the way you were doing talents was a piece of dog shit. And then in the earlier slide, people were asking me, Rurikhan, why don't you take what they say at face value? This is why. Because they're completely fucking out of touch. Anyway. It's a good thing. Okay? This is a good thing. It's just very frustrating for someone who's been following the game for this long to see this. It is a good thing, but it's very, very frustrating. Anyway, then there was also a verbal statement about easing up on borrowed power. Tummy Giggles saying, I've never experienced the borrowed power thing. I had no idea it was that bad. Oh yeah, it was pretty fucking bad, dude. There's going to be a professions revamp. That's great. I actually think the whole professions thing of being able to place in work orders and whatnot, I think that is a really interesting system. The fact that, you know, there were people saying you're basically copying Final Fantasy XIV professions. I don't think it's exactly that. I mean, you're going to get like profession gear. My concern is that is the profession gear basically going to be another fucking thread mill, another fucking gold sink, so that you get more people to buy more WoW tokens? It's just like, come on, dude. Come on. Anyway. And then there's some UI improvements. Thank fucking God! The fact that they dared to meme on is like, hey guys, it only took us 18 years to fix our UI. That wasn't funny. I guess you guys thought that was going to be a funny joke. But it's one of those things like, it's funny because it's true. It's not a good thing. This is not a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing that you're doing it now. It's not a good thing that it took you this long to fucking improve your UI. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, so that is what we got. So now let's talk about what I wanted, what I would have liked to see in that presentation addressed. Some things that I would just like to see them address. Number one, with a bullet, proper class balance. Like, this is potentially one of the most important things and one of the things that Blizzard consistently and relentlessly fucks up on, creating flavor of the month classes. At this point, I don't even know if it's intentional to get you to play alts, because considering how hard they fucked alts in previous expansions, it almost seems counterintuitive Because like, hey, we nerf this class, we make this class more powerful so that more players play this class. And it's like, I don't think that's the way you should balance the game. So I don't know if that is intentional, or if you know, if you just want people to play different characters, so you nerf popular classes in order to get people to play other ones. I don't know if that's your intention or not. Ultimately, what I want is like, look, every class needs to be balanced within 5% of each other. That's simple. It's that simple. And you should balance racials while you're at it, because as someone who only cares about dwarves, okay? As someone who only cares about dwarves, it's like you compare regular dwarf racials with the dark iron dwarf racials. And yeah, the regular dwarves are getting the fucking shaft. They're getting shafted so fucking hard, though. They're getting shafted like nobody's business, okay? Dark Iron dwarves, they're just like, take a ride on me moo machine. It's like, no, dude, it's not, no. And this is just dwarves. I'm not even going to some of the more egregious shit, because like we all know that Drakthir racials are going to be completely and utterly fucking busted. Just like there's tons of racials in the game that are busted, which, you know, there's just going to be unfair advantages for certain. They need to figure out how to balance that shit. Balance classes, balance racials. And let me tell you why class balance is so important. Nothing sucks more, at least in my experience, nothing sucks more than wanting to play your class and not being able to. Like actually not being it. Like, look, I'm a protection warrior through and through. When I started Battle for Azeroth, guess what? Guess fucking what? Protection warriors, completely not fucking valuable. Where? Raid, M+, PvP, all of them. All of them. Balance it. I don't care. It's not my problem. Avatar Blade, this is legitimately not even my problem. This is what I want. Okay? This is basically like, here's what I would have liked to see. Them actually address, hey, look, we know we fucked up class balancing in the past. This expansion, we're going to make that right. That's what I wanted to hear. And I didn't. So my belief is going to be very much warrior. Protection warrior is going to be, just like every expansion has been, a fucking roller coaster ride. It's like, oh, at the start, you're going to suck dick. Then you're going to become overpowered. Then you're going to suck dick again. Then you're going to become overpowered. Then you're going to suck dick again. It's like, dude, the way that they do balancing with warriors is they drop an anvil on one side of the scale, a piano on the other, and they're like, maybe they'll even out. Who fucking knows, man? Who fucking knows? So it's like, that is super important to me, because I would want to play Protection Warrior. And the fact that every single expansion that I've played, because like, look, I've played Protection Warrior all the way through until like fucking Cataclysm. Then in Cataclysm, I had to play Holy Paladin for a while, because Q didn't let me tank, because Protection Warriors sucked dick as well. Then in like, then I skipped Mists of Pandaria. Then I came back to Warlords of Draenor. I think Warrior was actually pretty decent in Warlords of Draenor when I was playing it. Then I went back to, what was it? Legion? I think in Legion I played a Paladin. Did I? I don't remember. Whatever. But the point was, Protection Warriors sucked a lot of the time. And other tanks were way better. When I came back to BFA, for instance, I played like the Brewmaster Monk. And the balance... not the balance, like the how good each of these tanks were. Like, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, Warrior was like a -10, and Brewmaster Monk was like a 100. Again, on a scale of 1 to 10. Protection Warrior was a -10. Brewmaster was a 100. That's the power difference that we were working with. So... it's like, that I feel is unacceptable, and that is a major problem, has always been a major problem with the game, and they should actually hire a proper team to do proper fucking class balance. So that is why this is one of the most important things. Anyway, this has gone on too long. The next one, remove the Great Vault. Fucking remove it. Fucking remove it. I don't understand. I really don't understand how poorly people have been conditioned to accept the free-to-play mechanic on a game that they pay a monthly fee for. Listen, the Great Vault is a free-to-play mechanic. It came straight out of mobile games. Straight out of mobile games. That's what the Great Vault is. It needs to be removed. It's that simple. Remove it. The loot should come from the dungeons, period. The loot should come from the dungeons. I don't want to hear about but you can run the dungeon nonstop. You're goddamn right I can. Guess what? That's what I pay $15 a month for. So that I can run these fucking dungeons as much as I want. And I want to get the fucking loot. I don't want to get the loot once a week on a fucking chest. I want to get the loot when I run the fucking dungeon. I don't want to do it like, oh, if you miss the timer, you get 1 piece. If you get the timer, you get 2 pieces. For 5 fucking people! Excuse me? For 5 fucking people? Are you insane? Best case scenario, 2 pieces of loot for 5 people? What? You're crazy. You're fucking crazy. Like, the loot should come from the... Period. Period. Like, I don't even understand how for some people, this is a talking point. Like, some people bring up like, oh, but then you'd get geared too fast. Yes! Exactly. And guess what? After I get geared too fast, I play another class. Because it feels good. You know what doesn't feel good? Being given a goal that you can never realistically reach. That's what doesn't feel good. That feels like shit. When you're being given a goal that you can't realistically reach, it's asinine. It is terrible. I can't like plan out when I'm going to be able to get my... It's just like, hey, maybe you'll get it next week. It's like, listen, you get 1 item a week. If you're lucky, every now and then you might get an item on a Mythic Plus. It's like, no, fuck that. I want to do a dungeon and I want to get loot. I put in the effort. I want loot. It's that simple. I want to play a fucking Mythic Plus 30 and I want to be able to get a piece. I don't have to get loot every dungeon, but I need to get at least every other dungeon. Like 2 pieces of loot for 5 people? Suck my balls. That's what I gotta say, because that's what Blizzard's telling you. Loot should come from dungeons, not from a fucking free-to-play mechanic at the end of the week. No. And don't tell me about, it's just bad luck protection. It's like, don't fucking put bad luck in my game. What the fuck? Why am I paying you $15 a month to get bad luck? So that you're basically creating a problem because they actually nerfed the loot you would get from Mythic Plus when we swapped the Shadowlands, for those of you that don't remember that part. Because I know that a lot of people choose to just ignore that part, but they've actually lowered the amount of loot that you would get from Mythic Plus dungeons with the Shadowlands pre-patch. So it's like, listen, you've created a problem so that you could sell us on this garbage solution. Here's what you do. Get rid of the problem, get rid of the solution. The loot drops from the dungeons. Boom, done. This ain't like fucking rocket science. This is dungeon crawling 101. I run the dungeon, I get the loot. And I don't need to get loot every single time, but I want to get it eventually. Like, what the fuck? Blizzard thanks you for your engagement, to your contribution to their engagement metrics. Yeah, dude, fuck engagement metrics, dude. Fuck the Great Vault. This is bullshit. Great Vault is bullshit. And I really feel like people who think that Great Vault is a great idea have been so poorly conditioned. Excuse me. Dude, like, there was nothing wrong with the stuff that we had back in TBC where we would get badges and we'd be able to buy, complimentary gear. That's the way to do it. It's like, just let me get loot, let me get badges, let me get something from doing these dungeons. There's nothing worse than going on a Mythic Plus run and coming out completely empty-handed. It's like, oh, but you got a +1 for your Great Vault. Fuck the Great Vault. Fuck the +1. Shove all that shit up your ass. Like, give a fuck. Psh, whatever. Anyway, another one. Optional old dungeon scaling with rewards. Nobody runs old dungeons in World of Warcraft. Like, the moment a new expansion comes out, the previous expansion is made completely obsolete. Just like what's about to happen with Dragonflight. Like Shadowlands, it's obsolete. The second Dragonflight comes out, Shadowlands is like, It's obsolete. Nobody's going to go back to it. Nobody's going to do anything on it. Why? There's no scale. There's no reason. Unless you're someone who's got like that add-on that is, what's it called? Collect all or whatever the fuck, that adds a little bit of a percentage every time that you gather like an item for your whatever. It's like, there's no reason. There's no reason to go back to old content. Optional old dungeon scaling would make it great so that people could be running old dungeons and it would scale and you could queue into it and you'd be scaled down. You know, it's not fucking rocket science. This is like a Final Fantasy 14 feature. But hey, you fucking... Didn't they grab like the profession, whatever, the profession gear from 14 as well? Didn't they grab the mount system from Guild Wars 2? Please, for the love of God, steal level syncing from Final Fantasy 14. Fucking do it. Fucking do it. Blasphemous Cry, completely disagree. Mythic Plus is not bullshit. Escalating difficulty is fun content. It can be fun. For a lot of people, it can be fun. I find Mythic Plus fucking amazing. I love running Mythic Plus. It was my favorite thing. I'd rather do Mythic Plus than raids. You want to do why? Raids require more coordination. You need more people to perform at a high level, you know, a high level of performance with their class. And a lot of people are usually not prepared to perform at that high level unless you have like, you know, unless you're fucking, you have a proper pre-made to perform at that level. Therefore, if you run Mythic Plus instead, you reduce the amount of dependability that you have on the number of people and you're only dependent on 5 people. You just need 5 people to perform at their best, which makes it easier to form groups. And dude, I love Mythic Plus. I get it. Mythic Plus is not for everybody. I get it. I fucking get it. But listen, it is for a lot of people. A lot of people fucking love it. I love Mythic Plus. I thought it was amazing. The worst thing about Mythic Plus was the way that the loot is distributed, which is like, hey, you run Mythic Plus? Yeah, just wait for the fucking vault. It's like, I think it's ridiculous that I can run like fucking 20 Mythic Pluses and potentially get no loot. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous, you know? But again, that it's to each their own. Anyway, that's the optional old dungeon scaling is what we were talking about. I think it'd be amazing because like people will be leveling up alts, running these old dungeons, remembering how fun it was to run these old dungeons back in the day. And you know, you can queue into it as like a high level character and it will scale you down and it will still give you rewards. Like, it doesn't have to be like power rewards. It could be like, I don't know, some kind of like a fucking currency for cosmetics or something. Or maybe you'd be able to get some of the loot from that dungeon as well. You know, it's just like, I think old dungeon scaling would be a no-brainer with proper rewards. Account-wide progression systems. No-brainer. No fucking brainer. Account-wide is like, listen, if I grind out a reputation, I never want to grind it out again. I'm exalted with this faction, I never want to do that again. It would actually make me excited to go back and do some of the ones that I didn't do. It's like, listen, the moment I'm exalted with, I don't know, fucking Kirin Tor, never want to do it again. The moment I'm exalted with the Argent Dawn, never want to do it again. For every fucking class. Boom. And not just reputation systems. The moment I complete every single side quest in like fucking Stranglethorn Vale, never want to do it again. And for the people that do want to do it again, give them a New Game Plus system. Boom, done. Problem solved. Because some people are going to go, well, what if I want to do it again? Well, if you want to do it again, there's New Game Plus system. You can go and you can fucking grind your balls out if that's what you want. Don't give a fuck. But it's like, listen, after I do all the side quests in the zone, I never want to do it again. I never want to do it again. It's that simple. I complete literally any side activity in the game, any fucking reputation, any whatever. Never want to do it again. Remember, guys, mounts didn't used to be account-wide. Mounts used to be based on the character that you were playing. They were not account-wide. They've changed that. So this is something that they can do. This is something that they choose not to do to squeeze more engagement out of you. Unacceptable. The moment I grind anything out of the game, I never want to do it again. I never want to do it again. It is what it is. Master Loot, again, no brainer. I don't care that little Timmy got fucking ninja looted. Fuck little Timmy. Little Timmy learned a valuable life lesson. Guess what? The world's not fair, Timmy. That's what you fucking learn. Put Master Loot back on again. No fucking brainer. Don't tell me about how, oh, but the people, they're getting scammed. Good. They're learning a valuable life lesson. It is what it is. Hey, it's a social game. There's going to be social interactions. If you don't know how to handle yourself in a social interaction, you're going to get taken advantage of. It is that simple. When little Timmy grows up, he's coming for you. Good, I'll be waiting with a shotgun. I'll blast him in the fucking face. Fuck little Timmy. I don't give a fuck. I really, listen, not a single person can bring forth a proper argument as to why Master Loot is not in the game. Not a single person. Not a single person can bring up a valuable argument as to why it's not. It's like, oh, but my random... I don't give a fuck about your random group. Don't join a random group with Loot Master. Easy. Don't join a random group with Loot Master. It's your choice. It is literally a choice. You can run it with normal loot or personal loot, whatever the fuck, or you can run it with Master Loot. Boom. Easy. If you see a group with Loot Master, don't join it. And if you join and you get scammed, you learned a valuable lesson. This is actually a good thing for you in real life. You learn that people can be fucking assholes. It's not all sunshine and rainbows out there. It is what it is. Now this next one, ooh, people are not going to like this one. People are not going to like this one. The removal of deadly boss mods and weak horrors. Oh yeah. Get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. Get rid of it. It is bullshit. Get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Don't want it in the game. Put in proper solutions into the game that can communicate what is happening and how clues as to how players should react to certain mechanics. This should all be built in game. I believe you that it's never happening, Avatar Blade. I know it's never happening. But people ask me, what did you want? This is what I want. And this is huge for new players. Do you know the barrier of entry for people trying to raid? Install DBMs, install weak horrors, install fucking Luxo's Luxo's cooldown tracker, install the fucking details, install... you don't need to do Omen Threat Meter because Threat's not really a thing anymore, but like, install all of these... No! Just no. Go to the raid and raid. And the bosses will properly communicate the mechanics that are about to happen, and you'll either, succeed in executing the mechanic, or you will fail at executing the mechanic, and then you will learn. You can't expect Blizzard to implement the functional UI. They better figure it out. Make the game playable without needing that crap. Exactly. Not just make the game playable without needing that crap. Actually remove that crap. Because the moment you allow it, then people are going to use it. Listen, it's that simple. Like, this is just the way that it goes. Just like if there was an easy mode in Dark Souls, 90% of the people that play Dark Souls would probably use the easy mode. Well, not 90. More like 50. 50% of the people that try to get into Souls, they'd probably bump it down to the easy, because people will always take the path of least resistance. It's that simple. So it needs to be bannable offense. Straight up bannable offense. DBM Weak Horrors, bannable offense. Got kicked out of my TBC guild for not using add-ons. Fuck them, I was their only healer with 100% attendance. Yeah, there you go. It's that simple. Played WoW for years, mostly did PvP all the way to Gladiator, dabbed my toes in PvE, did heroic ICC back in the day, but couldn't be asked to do any raids in recent expansions. Jumping to Final Fantasy 14. Holy fuck, Savage is fun. And I'm actually playing the game instead of playing the UI. Exactly. Like, the thing about this is people will not even understand how bad DBM and Weak Horrors makes the game unless they play a game without DBM and Weak Horrors. They'll just never understand it, which is why people are like, why would you want to take it away? It's so good. Tells me everything the boss does. Yeah, exactly. What if the boss actually communicated it to you in a way that was challenging but doable without you needing all of these fucking things? Because again, this is like a fucking Ouroboros. It's a snake eating its own tail of Blizzard fighting add-on creators and add-on creators fighting Blizzard, and it just goes round and round to the point where raiding is literally not viable without DBM and Weak Horrors. And anybody who comes out is like, oh, I could raid, I could do it. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Sure you can. Yeah, sure. Show me a video. Show me a video of you performing every single mechanic in, like, let's say, Jailer Mythic without add-ons. Please. Please show it to me. No, sir, link it. Like, there's going to be a, there's going to be on YouTube, there's going to be a comment section. Link me that video. Link me that video, and I will watch it, and I'll react to it in shame. Put me to shame. I beg you. Put me to shame. Without DBM, without Weak Horrors, go raid the Mythic Jailer. Good fucking luck. Go ahead. Put me to shame. I'm throwing it out there. For all of the people that are always telling me, I could do it without add-ons. I could totally. Okay, go do it. Go fucking do it. Without any add-ons. Without any add-ons at all, go raid Mythic Jailer. And then tell me how that worked out for you. And by the way, you being a corpse the whole fight, while the rest of your raid team does the fight for you, doesn't count. You have to actually be doing the mechanics yourself. So, just throwing that out there, that would be another easy win. And there's two more things. I forgot to put one in here, but the one that I'm going to bring up after this is 1000% never going to happen. Neither is this one, to be honest. These last two, they're never going to happen. No more PTR. No more PTR. Sorry. Do proper QA testing. I want that when the game comes out, right? When the new expansion comes out, I want nobody to know what the quest lines are, where the items drop, what the dungeons are like, what the boss fights are like. I want people to actually jump into this game as a fucking game. How about that? How about, can we have that? No, of course not. Because like what's going to happen is very much like with every World of Warcraft expansion. Before the game comes out, there's going to be a beta that lets you play the entire quest lines before you actually get to the game. They might hide like one or two things, but like 99% of the game is going to be figured out by the time it releases. And that completely destroys the point of any MMO. Like, guys, remember New World? The New World release, everybody knew what they had to do. Well, not everybody, but like a majority of players that cared about New World, they knew exactly which routes they had to make, where the best chests were, what the events were going to be like, you know, what the skills that they wanted to get were, they knew everything. They knew everything. And it's like, I don't think that's a fun thing. I think that's terrible, particularly when it comes to MMOs, because MMOs are social experiences. It's about people figuring shit out. It's nowadays it's all about, oh, it's the theme park experience. We need to like handhold the players to go everywhere. No, leave some fucking mystery in the world. No more PTRs, and do some proper QA testing on it. Have an actual team play through the video game and use that team's feedback to make the video game playable, to make the encounters playable, to balance the raids, to do everything that you need to do. Just like no more PTR. And if you want to do PTR, it's to test things like, hey, we need to do PTR to test like skill changes. So please do a couple of PvP matches. Please do a couple of like raids with these new skills that we're adding into the game. That's fine. But like, maybe no more PTR is like a weird thing. No more new content in PTR. That's what I mean to say. It's like new content needs to be just that, new content. It can't be plastered all over Wowhead like 2 weeks before it actually comes out in the game itself. See, that would have been something where I would have been, holy shit. See, that right there. And here's the thing. While this might seem like it's something that's probably never going to happen, they've done a little bit of this when they've removed the last 3 bosses of the Sepulchre or whatever from PTR, which I thought was cool. The problem was, turns out that, at least I believe, that like their balancing was pretty bad because they don't have a QA team to test that shit. So, you know, not like Blizzard ever took PTR feedback seriously. Yeah, this is true. This is true. They also never take the feedback. That's the best part. Because, like, people told them, like, hey, listen, all this shit that you're doing in Shadowland, this is real bad. This is not good. And it's like, whatever. We don't give a fuck. So it's not even like they take it seriously, to be honest. So, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Anyways, the last one that is not in the slides. and it is not ever going to happen. But if it did, it would be a huge win, and it is something that I would love to see. But this one, I guarantee you, will never ever happen, no matter what. Doesn't matter. It's just never going to be a thing. But that would have been remove the WoW token. Never going to happen. Never. That one is 1,000% never going to happen. Remove the WoW token and actually bring some fucking integrity into your video game, but nobody cares. Like, literally nobody cares. I've been so disappointed that, you know, Asmongold actually used to care about this shit. Not even he cares anymore. He's just like, whatever. I don't care. I don't fucking care. And I understand why. I want people to know. I understand why, but it's like, you know, it is what it is. It was just hard to see that not even he fucking cared about that shit. It's like, whatever. Yeah, whatever. WoW token, schmow token. Yeah, it's pay to win. Don't care. Whatever. So yeah, I don't think that's cool. Did you hear Ian say they wouldn't mind you going to the auction house and buy mythic raid gear for millions of gold? He said they wouldn't want you. Did he say they wouldn't mind, or that they didn't want you to do that? I forget. Either way, that's like my feedback on the whole thing, and I realize that this video is probably too long for most people to watch, but hey, 'tis what it is. 'Tis what it is.